Gentlemen, good to see you guys again.
Good to see you too.
When I look at events like what happened in Mumbai and then recently what happened in New Zealand, I think about the Mr. Rogers quote, something his mom told him, which is look for the helpers, because in tragedy there are always people that are helping. What does the worst of humanity teach you about the best of humanity?
Dev?
I mean, it really is, what does the worst of humanity teach you about the best of humanity? I mean, it's just amazing to see, in the face of such evil, such resilience and goodness shine through. And, everyone keeps asking us in these press tours, like, what would you do in that situation? And I don't want to give any strength to that question, because I would never, with what's going on in the world, why would you even want to imagine that, it's actually happening and people are suffering. But to, the research that went on to this film, the manuscripts that we read, there were staff members taping baking trays to their chests and running out in front of AK-47s to save their friends and other guests, and guests banding together and tying bed sheets together and getting each other out of the windows. And it's, tiny miracles were happening, during that time. It's very overwhelming.
Unfortunately, one of the many side effects of this happening as often as it does is I feel like we as a society become numb to it. We see it on the news and it's just one of 8 stories we're going to hear similar to it throughout the day. What does doing a movie like this, how does it affect how you turn on the news and you hear stories like this?
I don't turn on the news. No offense. I just don't. This new sort of phenomenon of the 24-hour news cycle, like you're talking about, where something that is a massively tragic event happens, and then an hour later, people are already, in sort of like some attention deficit way, moved on from it because now there's a new thing or whatever is going on. I don't know, man. It's a dangerous place. It's a dangerous headspace to sort of be in. Nobody sits in anything anymore. Yeah. Nobody sits in their emotions or what's going on. Everyone just moves through things so quickly that you stop processing and you stop thinking about it. And that's ultimately what leads young people to do crazy things. This situation, the perpetrators of this attack didn't come out of the womb ready to do this. They were pushed into this. They were pressurized in a way, and it came from feeling unheard, feeling unlistened to, feeling walked on, unrespected, and because they looked different or they were from a different country or whatever sort of imaginary difference you want to put on it. It's all bullshit,
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about people just sitting in it, because that's what it is in a time when, we're at such a high frequency where things are fleeting. There is a trend, this mass shooting trend. It's horrible, and when you're in a film like this, you really put people in an emotion for a long time. You get to fully explore that, so that's really the objective of that.
And I know as we wrap up, one of the places where you shot the dance sequence for Slumdog Millionaire was one of the train platforms where the terrorist opened fire on people.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that moment whenever you made that connection, when you saw that on the news and you realized, wait, I've been there before. What kind of feeling is that? Because that's something that I feel like a lot of people will never experience.
Yeah, it felt so close to home, and I just spent a couple of days there, so I can't imagine what it's like for people commuting there or who had actual family members die. But essentially, this is one of the busiest platforms in the world in India. We went there to do night shoots for this film, which was a celebration of life, and it was a cherry on top, And I looked around and saw women, children, traveling places, and to think that these kids with, machine guns came and opened fire blindly, it was just heartbreaking. We just aired Slumdog at Toronto, and then I think shortly after that had happened, and so when there was a movie being made, I was very proactive in wanting to be a part of telling it,
Well, I'm glad you guys did, and thank you for doing it. You guys making movies like this makes my job easier, so thank you for always making wonderful projects.
Yeah, have a good one.
Thank you guys. Good to see you guys. Thank you very much.